When allegations first emerged connecting Lil Baby to gang violence in Atlanta, his initial response was brief and confident. Now very strong evidence has come out in court that could put him in jail for life, and it's a whole different story.
They were saying that they had heard that Dominique Jones had tickets on a lot of people's heads.
Before Baby and his team react, they need to be sure the feds don't know too much already, so what else do the feds know? Let's find out from dismissal to defense in February 2025, following a police press conference that implied his involvement. In events leading to the deaths of 2 teenagers, Lil Baby took to Instagram with a succinct message. "Thanks for all the concerns. Please don't be misinformed by fake news. I'm overly good." This casual dismissal reflected the position of someone who didn't appear particularly concerned about the allegations. At that point, the accusations were primarily about his music video shoot in May 2024, allegedly sparking gang violence, a connection many viewed as tenuous at best.
Once again, those some heavy allegations to put on somebody just because they went to shoot a music.
A lot of people on social media shared the same opinion. How could filming a music video, which is completely legal, make someone responsible for violence that happened afterward? Fans and people in the music industry were questioning the whole idea. Lil Baby's legal team, led by well-known attorneys Drew Finling and Marissa Goldberg, also pushed back. They released a formal statement calling the police's claims complete and total nonsense. They strongly defended Lil Baby's right to film in his own hometown. To say he can't shoot a music video in the city he loves, a city he's always tried to uplift, is just wrong, they said. They also pointed out that the location of a music video is usually chosen by a full production team, not just the artist. Their early strategy focused on 3 main points, arguing that filming a music video shouldn't make someone responsible for later violence, explaining that choosing a video location is a team decision, not just up to Lil Baby, highlighting Lil Baby's strong connection to Atlanta and his efforts to give back to the community. At first, this approach seemed to work. Many people thought the police were going too far with the allegations. But things took a serious turn on April 1st, 2025. That's when Atlanta gang investigator Marissa Vivavero testified in court during a case involving the Goodfellas gang. He revealed wiretap recordings that allegedly captured conversations about tickets or bounties that Lil Baby had supposedly placed on people's heads.
Okay. To have them arrested?
Harmed or killed.
And who were they referring to in that portion of the call?
They were saying that they had heard that Dominique Jones had tickets on a lot of people's heads.
Dominique Jones wanted to have people harmed.
Correct.
All right, moving on.
This testimony marked a huge shift in the case. It was no longer just about Lil Baby being loosely linked to violence because of where a music video was filmed. Now, there was alleged wiretap evidence suggesting he might have been involved in murder-for-hire talks, something way more serious. As of April 3rd, 2025, neither Lil Baby nor his legal team has made any public statements about these wiretap claims. That silence is a big change from how quickly and confidently they responded to the earlier, less serious accusations. Still, behind the scenes, it looks like the pressure is starting to show. Commentators in a recent video mentioned that this situation might be taking a real toll on him.
They said there was rumors circulating that Lil Baby got arrested. Then it comes to find out, I guess Lil Baby didn't get arrested.
Well, I don't think he got
it was one
arrested.
cloud chasing girl.
Nah, it was multiple people.
I don't think it
No,
was. They said
she started it.
They said Rico. They said Yeah, there was a Rico.
Nah, they said he was picked up in federal custody.
That's
They
what
said
they said.
like
It was for questioning.
Pending.
Yeah.
Although the recent rumors about Lil Baby being arrested turned out to be false, they show just how much attention and concern there is around his legal situation. Even though he hasn't been taken into custody, the talk about possible questioning by federal agents highlights how serious things are getting. What's really raising the stakes is the nature of the wiretap evidence. According to investigator Marissa Vivarito's testimony, the recordings didn't actually catch Lil Baby saying anything himself. Instead, they captured someone known. Only as Unc talking to Keontae Sanders about what they believed or heard. Specifically, that Lil Baby had put bounties on people. In other words, it's hearsay, not direct proof.
Unc, the unidentified male that was being referred to as Unc.
And he's speaking with Mr. Sanders.
Correct.
The relationship between Sanders and Lil Baby adds another complex dimension to the case. Previous reports indicated that Sanders allegedly planned to extort Lil Baby for $5 million, suggesting an adversarial relationship that could give Sanders motive to spread damaging claims about the rapper.
So, just one last question. So, who tried to extort Lil Baby allegedly?
So allegedly, one of the opposing gang members, who's like higher ranking in the gang,
he was telling his girlfriend on one of the recorded calls that he planned to he was seeking revenge on Baby, like I mentioned earlier, and part of that was going to be to extort him for $5 million when he came home from prison. I don't know what the extortion would be, like what he was going to try and hang over his head, but that was what they recovered from these phones and, you know.
This extortion angle could potentially be crucial to Lil Baby's defense, as it suggests Sanders might have had motivation to falsely implicate him in criminal activities. Another potential defense angle involves questioning Vivito's credibility. As a gang expert during the ongoing Young Thug YSL trial, Vivi Verito faced significant criticism and judicial scrutiny for her testimony.
At this point, bro, we gotta stop using like Verito the Vixen as a gang expert or as anybody credible, bro. Like, have y'all forgotten like the YSL trial where even the judge got frustrated at Verito because Verito was on that stand, bruh, spewing nonsense, dodging questions, being uncredible?
I think he...
Go ahead and explain it now, because the jury's not in here.
Yeah,
we're just trying to sort out what
I think from my understanding of Mr. Stillwell back in that time, he was under the impression that the Donovan Thomas case had been, that they were going to beat it, like they were about to beat it, or was beat, or it wasn't going to be an issue. I didn't want to say that because I didn't know.
Well, that's good that you didn't say that. But that's not the question that he asked at the time.
During the YSL trial, the judge showed clear frustration with Marissa Viverito's testimony. This moment could be important later on, as it might be used to question her credibility, especially when it comes to how she interprets wiretap recordings and gang-related slang in Lil Baby's case. While these legal strategies might be happening behind the scenes, Lil Baby seems to be staying focused on his business. Back in December 2024, months before these allegations went public, he rebranded his label 4PF, 4 Pockets Full, and launched it under a new name, Glass Window Entertainment. All right, y'all. So yesterday we talked about Lil Baby and...
All right, y'all. So yesterday we talked about Lil Baby, and you guys had a lot of questions in the room that I couldn't answer at the time because of what was given via the police press conference. So Fox 5 Atlanta has actually retrieved the arrest warrant. So remember I told you guys that yesterday in that press conference when they called out the rapper who they say they're going to make sure, you know, has these consequences because of the part that this person played in what they're now calling this gang war that resulted in multiple deaths. And then there was this arrest warrant that had Dominique Jones' name in it. Dominique Jones is Lil Baby. So that linked him to this conversation. So Fox 5 Atlanta went and retrieved the arrest warrant themselves, and they are now saying that after seeing this arrest warrant, they're able to specifically point to the other gang. Yesterday in that press conference, the police only named one gang, OMF, only My Family, but according to this arrest warrant, 4PF, which is 4 Pockets Full, which we know at one time was Baby's label. It was a crew that he was running around with until he changed the name of the label back in 2024 to Glass Window Entertainment. It's also being named as the opposing gang in this like rivalry that the police are alleging is going down.
Looking back, Lil Baby's decision to rebrand his label from 4PF, 4 Pockets Full, to Glass Window Entertainment seems even more important now. That move helped create distance from a name that authorities have recently identified as a gang in court. As the accusations have grown, from a controversial music video shoot to alleged murder-for-hire plots, Lil Baby and his team have shifted from brushing things off to making more careful, strategic moves. The silence after the wiretap revelations says a lot. This is no longer something that can be dismissed with a quick Instagram post or a short press release. The legal situation is now serious and complicated. After gang investigator Marissa Viverito's testimony about wiretapped conversations discussing possible bounties tied to Lil Baby, pressure has gone way up. Commentators have pointed out that it looks like authorities might be preparing to build a RICO case, which could have major consequences.
So let's break down exactly what's going on. These are Lil Baby ops, arch nemesis of 4PF, the Goodfellas, and they're currently going through the process of being officially indicted for a RICO.
This commentary points out something really important about Lil Baby's situation. Authorities are already going after the Goodfellas OMF gang, his alleged rivals, with RICO charges. And when one side of a conflict gets hit with those charges, it often means the other side could be next. Even if the wiretap recordings are allowed in court, Lil Baby's legal team still has several ways to challenge them. The biggest argument? The recordings are hearsay. They don't have Lil Baby himself saying anything. They only capture other people talking about what they think he did, not what they actually heard from him.
They were saying that they had heard that Dominique Jones had tickets on a lot of people's heads.
People on the wiretaps were saying they believed they had heard that Dominique Jones Lil Baby, had tickets on a lot of people's heads. That detail is important. The recordings don't actually capture Lil Baby himself placing bounties or ordering hits. It's just others talking about what they think he did. This gives his legal team a lot of room to argue that the claims aren't reliable or may have been made up by people with their own agendas. Another key part of the defense will likely focus on how the slang in the recordings is being interpreted. For example, investigator Vivarito claimed that the word tickets meant bounties or prices on people's heads. But the defense may challenge that interpretation and argue it's being misunderstood or taken out of context.
And what, in your experience, do you know what tickets are?
A price on somebody's head.
What do you mean by, what do you mean on somebody's head? What is that?
Like a bounty.
In past cases involving rappers, defense teams have often pushed back against how law enforcement interprets slang or phrases used in their communities. This tactic has had mixed results, but it's a common approach, especially when authorities claim that certain words are coded language for criminal activity. One of the most interesting parts of Lil Baby's potential defense could be his complicated relationship with Keontae Sanders, the gang member who was on the other end of some of those recorded calls. According to earlier reports, Sanders was allegedly trying to extort Lil Baby for $5 million. That points to a hostile relationship, which could mean Sanders had a motive to spread damaging stories about him. This extortion angle could be a strong part of the defense's case. They could argue that Sanders and his people were creating false claims about Lil Baby as part of a plan to pressure him for money. And the fact that Sanders was already in prison when these calls happened only adds to that argument. He had less to lose and more reason to lie or exaggerate. Another major part of the defense will likely be challenging how the authorities are labeling 4PF, 4 Pockets Full. Prosecutors are trying to paint it as a gang, but Lil Baby's team will argue that it's a legitimate music label. That difference is key, especially in a potential RICO case, which requires proving the existence of a criminal organization.
Young Thug situation, whatever was going on like that, whatever fire was burning, they put a lot of that out, bro. Ain't nobody stupid, ain't nobody crazy.
This suggests that Young Thug's defense team has had some success in challenging the gang characterization, which might provide a template for Lil Baby's attorneys. Lil Baby's December 2024 decision to rebrand 4PF as Glass Window Entertainment could play into this strategy, positioning the organization as a legitimate business that was evolving and professionalizing rather than a criminal enterprise.
Didn't he get rid of the whole 4PF thing? Like,
all of that. So, but
the label name has changed?
This confirms that Lil Baby has officially rebranded his label, which could help create some legal distance between himself and the 4PF name, a name that authorities have labeled as gang-related. Beyond the legal strategy, Lil Baby's public, image, and community work might also help counter the prosecution's narrative. Back in 2021, he even visited the White House to meet with then Vice President Kamala Harris to talk about criminal justice reform. On top of that, he's known for his philanthropy in Atlanta and has made several business investments in the community. These efforts paint a very different picture from someone allegedly involved in organizing violence. We've already seen his legal team lean into this side of the story. In their February statement, they highlighted his ongoing work to uplift his hometown. This positive image could become a key part of both his legal defense and public relations strategy as the case moves forward. To get an idea of how this might play out, the ongoing YSL RICO case against Young Thug offers a useful comparison. That case involves similar allegations and is being handled in the same jurisdiction. Although Young Thug has been in jail since his May 2022 arrest and has had multiple bail requests denied, his legal team has managed to slow things down significantly, creating procedural challenges that have complicated the prosecution's case. However, what's especially worrying in Lil Baby's situation is that there are signs authorities are preparing for a major RICO indictment, according to reports.
Hoover, who manages the Georgia Public Defenders Council specialized unit in gang cases. So the public defenders who handle the gang cases for gang members who can't have attorneys because they can't afford it. The public defender office just said the office is actively preparing for racketeering indictment on the 4PF and OMF cases, and that he expects Lil Baby to be indicted with others.
This preparation by the Public Defender's Office is a significant development, suggesting that indictments may indeed be forthcoming. The fact that official agencies are allocating resources in anticipation of these cases indicates the seriousness with which authorities are pursuing the matter for Lil Baby's team. This preparation period is critical, as one music industry commentator observed.
Like, why would I give him a warning? Like, why would I let him know? Like, they didn't really officially arrest him, right?
Yeah.
They haven't officially arrested him, but
Yeah.
I'm gonna go have a press conference and say, hey,
Sure.
Lil Baby, you might be responsible for this, and that, without actually bringing him in.
This commentary brings up an unusual aspect of the case: the public nature of the investigation and the clear warnings from law enforcement, even before formal charges have been filed. On one hand, this could work in Lil Baby's favor by giving his team time to prepare. On the other hand, it shows just how determined authorities are to pursue the case. Lil Baby's team seems to be managing the broader impact of these allegations on his career and business. Unlike his past legal troubles, including a 2019 arrest for reckless driving, a 2021 detainment in France for drug possession, and a 2024 arrest in Las Vegas for carrying a concealed weapon without a permit, potential RICO charges are much more serious. They don't just threaten his career, they threaten his freedom. If Lil Baby ends up facing something like what Young Thug is going through in the ongoing YSL RICO case, the personal impact could be huge. He might end up in pretrial detention for years, separated from his family and unable to perform or record music. For an artist at the peak of his career, with young children at home, that would be devastating on many levels.
There was wiretaps being played, and on one of the wiretaps, somebody mentioned that Lil Baby had tickets, aka a bag, a bounty, on some people's heads. If they know what the ops did to you, they know what you did to the ops. That's the code of the streets, people. So don't ever celebrate your ops getting a RICO, right? That just means
for real, they coming for you now.
Now, if we look at the receipts for Trevante Turner, the police report when he passed away, if you look at the literal police report, they listed 4PF as a criminal street gang which laid claims to the Oakland City neighborhood of Atlanta.
This commentary points out how authorities are building their case step by step, working to prove that 4PF is a criminal gang, not just a music label. This is crucial for the RICO charges, and it represents a serious threat to Lil Baby's freedom. The mention of Trevante Turner is especially important. His death on June 29, 2024, allegedly at the hands of 4PF associates, seems to be a key part of the timeline authorities are putting together. They say this killing was in retaliation for the shooting at Lil Baby's video shoot, which led to a chain of events that included a retaliatory attack by the Goodfellas gang, killing two 13-year-old boys. What makes this case especially complicated is that authorities are targeting Lil Baby not just for any direct involvement in the violence, but for his role as the alleged leader of 4PF. As one analyst pointed out, this could make things even more difficult for his defense.
I hope you rappers is listening. This is such an eye-opener. If let's say you have a homie, right? And your homie, let's say he comes around, he's repping the squad 4PF, but your homie has some side beef and your homie's got homies of himself. If your homie gets killed by, let's say, his ops, and then your homie's homies come back and kill somebody, and a gang war ignite, you're now the crime boss, even though you have nothing to do with whatever personal beef he has with those people and his homies is involved. You are now automatically involved because he's in your entourage and you brought him around and he's in the music videos and he's around you and he's banging 4PF for the clout. You are now involved and they're going to include you as a gang leader and say that you are the catalyst for a gang war that had nothing to do with you. These people cold, man.
This commentary highlights the tough spot Lil Baby is in as the founder and public face of 4PF. Even if he hasn't personally ordered hits or been directly involved in violence under RICO laws, he could still be held responsible for what others do under the 4PF name. The murder-for-hire allegations are especially serious. They could trigger morality clauses in his contracts and cause corporate partners to back away from him. On top of that, if he ends up being held without bail, like Young Thug, It would severely limit his ability to release music and keep his public presence alive. Several people from the Atlanta music scene have spoken up about the situation, including Wack 100, who recently defended Lil Baby on a podcast.